Today, we're diving into one of the most famous and honestly mind-bending books about the brain ever written. Dr. Oliver Sacks's The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat. It's this incredible collection of stories that really makes you question everything you think you know about who we are.
Right off the bat, that title hits you with a question that just sounds impossible, right? It almost sounds like the setup for a joke, but it's a true story, and it opens up this amazing window into the deepest mysteries of the human brain.
And this quote, right from the beginning of the book, is everything. It's the key to his whole approach. Sacks believed that to really understand a patient, you couldn't just look at the what, the diagnosis, the symptoms. You had to understand the who, the actual person living through it all. This idea is the heart and soul of every single story he tells. So let's get right into that title story. We're going to meet Dr. P. He was a distinguished musician, a teacher, and a man whose entire visual world was quite literally shattering into fragments.
He had a condition called visual agnosia. And get this, it wasn't a problem with his eyes. His vision was technically fine. The problem was his brain couldn't make sense of what he was seeing anymore. Can you imagine looking at the people you love and just seeing a jumble of features, not a face?
So, to try and get a handle on this, Dr. Sacks does something really simple, but it reveals just how strange and profound Dr. P's world had become. He just held up a single red rose. Just think about that description for a second. It's so clinical. It's geometrically accurate, but there's no feeling, no recognition of what it is. He saw the shapes and colors, but the idea of rose, it was gone. It wasn't until Sacks told him to smell it that his brain finally connected the dots, and he lit up, saying, "Beautiful, an early rose." Okay, so next up, Sacks continues with another totally normal, everyday object, a glove. He wants to see just how deep this disconnect goes. And again, it's this brilliant, abstract description, but he has absolutely no idea what it is or what it's for. And this is what led to the book's title. As Dr. P was leaving the office, he reached out, grabbed his wife's head, and tried to lift it onto his own head. He thought it was his hat. And what's just incredible is that you can actually see this neurological shift happening in his art. His paintings became a map of his mind. He went from painting these rich, realistic scenes to more abstract, geometric forms, until finally, his paintings were just chaotic lines and splotches of color.
Now you're probably wondering, how on earth did this man function? How did he get through the day if he couldn't even recognize a glove? Well, the answer, kind of poetically, was the one thing his mind could still hold on to completely: music. His wife explained that his entire day, every single action was organized by songs. He had a song for getting dressed, a song for eating, a song for bathing. This inner music created a flow for him. But, and this is the crazy part, if that music was interrupted, say someone knocked on the door, he would just freeze. He'd be completely lost until the song started up again.
You see, Dr. P's story isn't just some weird, one-off medical curiosity. For Oliver Sacks, it was this profound lesson that completely shaped his entire philosophy of medicine. And this slide really breaks down the heart of what Sacks was arguing for. You know, traditional medicine often focuses on the what column. It's a case history, a list of symptoms. The person becomes the diagnosis. Sacks championed the who, the narrative, the story of the person who is fighting to make sense of it all. And that's what he called the clinical tale. It's a way of looking at medicine that sees the patient not as some kind of broken machine to be fixed, but as the protagonist in their own incredible, unique story. And Dr. P was just one of many. Seriously, this book is like a gallery of minds thrown into the most extraordinary circumstances you can imagine. So, for example, let's meet Jimmie G. Sacks. Described him as the lost mariner, a cheerful, smart guy who was quite literally lost in time. Jimmie had a type of amnesia so severe that new memories would just vanish in seconds. His mind was stuck permanently in the year 1945, back when he was a 19-year-old in the Navy. When Sacks met him, he was actually 49, and when he was shown his own reflection in a mirror, this gray-haired man looking back at him, he would spiral into complete terror and confusion. And then there was Christina, a young, vibrant woman who suddenly lost something most of us don't even know we have: proprioception. It's like the body's hidden sixth sense, the thing that tells you where your arms and legs are without having to look. I mean, overnight, she felt completely disembodied. She said it felt like her body wasn't even hers anymore.
If she closed her eyes, she would just collapse in a heap. She had to learn to control every single movement by watching it, consciously. Imagine the sheer exhaustion of having to concentrate that hard just to hold a fork or stand still. So all of these stories, they're tragic, of course, but they also lead Sachs to one of the most powerful and, I think, hopeful ideas in all of his work. I mean, think about it. For these patients who've been stripped of memory or identity, or even the feeling of their own body, what's left? How can a life be put back together when the very foundations of who you are have crumbled?
Well, Sacks's answer wasn't some new drug. His prescription was for the soul. He found that things like music and art could provide an external rhythm when the internal one was gone, that stories could give life meaning, and that, above all, meaningful work and loving relationships could bring back a sense of purpose and self.
And this all leads to his most profound conclusion. The soul is never really lost. It just needs a way to be reached. For Jimmie, the lost mariner, it was the quiet focus of being in chapel or working in the garden that brought him moments of peace. For Christina, listening to music could give her body a sense of grace again. Sachs believed that deep down, the person is always still in there. And that really leaves us with a question to think about for ourselves. For Dr. P, it was literally music that held his world together. For the rest of us, maybe it's our routines, our relationships, our passions. So it's worth asking, what's the inner music that gives your life its rhythm and structure?